Good afternoon. This is our Leviticus class, looking at chapter 11 of Leviticus, and we're about to get started. It's going to start in the afternoon. So let's start with prayer. Father, I bless you and honor you, Lord, today. I thank you, Lord, for what we're going to learn in Leviticus 11. And I ask you, Lord God, to open our eyes and let us see what you want us to see, and open our ears to hear what you want to hear, Lord God. I want us to hear. And help us, Lord God, to use our mouth to share it with someone else. We thank you. We praise you for wisdom, and we honor you for understanding, and we bless you for knowledge. It's in the name of the Lord Jesus we do pray. Amen. Amen. All right. All right, so we're at Leviticus 11. You know, I go straight from the sheet. I'm not sure what if she can call in. Let me see. Did she see it? Let me check. Okay. All right. So did you all enjoy your study?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I thought it was fascinating, actually, to tell you the truth. I mean, I've read through it several times, but it was kind of interesting. I spent a lot of time looking at it this week. So let's see what we glean from our little study time in Leviticus 11. The first question says, what animals were unclean to the sons of Israel from hoof animals, and why? And what did the animals have to do in order to be eaten?
Well, actually, you know, it probably was a good thing for the animals, right?
Okay, yeah.
If they were unclean, because that means they weren't getting eaten.
Right.
Yeah, they get to,
right?
to be cleared, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they couldn't have split hooves or chew the cud.
Mm-hmm.
They were unclean if they did not have split hooves or chew the cud. And chew the cud.
Okay.
So in order to be eaten, they had to have both split hooves and chew the cud.
Right. Now, interesting enough, did you wonder, I was fascinated with the chew the cud and divide the divide the hoof. I was confused. I was like, well, first of all, let's look at the animals. What animals could not be eaten from the hoofs? What animals do they list?
You want their names?
Yes.
All right, well, okay. I'm going to have to try to read my handwriting then.
I think I can chime in a little while Karen confirm it. Is the camel, the pig, rabbit, and conley, something C-O-N. I think it was C. I'm not C-O-N-E-L-Y. Conley. I don't know what that is.
There's also the hyrax, and I have no clue what that is either.
Interesting. Now, what version of the Bible are you all reading out of?
I did it out of the
NIV.
Yeah.
And you, Karen?
I did the same.
And you all have the...
So their names change, right? Their names change depending upon what version you're looking at?
Must do, because in the New American Standard, verse 5, because that's the verse I'm looking at. You all named the rabbit, you named the pig, you named the camel. I have in verse 5. So in verse 5, you I know, darling, you driving, but Karen, can you read your verse 5?
Sure.
Verse 5. Okay.
I'm actually going to open it up because I was writing so fast that my handwriting is pretty horrible. Okay. The hyrax, Hyrax. And I don't know what a hyrax is.
Okay. Now, in the New American Standard, it says, likewise, the shepan, okay? And I stopped to look up, but I already knew what a camel, a rabbit, a pig was. So I stopped and looked at what that was, okay? It's like, what kind of animal is that? Never heard of it. Actually, looking in the dictionary, there was no meaning for it, okay? Because it's a meaning for it, but it meant something about scribes. It had nothing to do with animals. So, which I found interesting. But the New American Standard and Study Bible actually had a definition for what that was, which I, grateful for that, because I couldn't find it. And it's a small, shy, furry animal. And I think Hyrax is Hyrax. That's what you all have, right?
Yep.
Okay. Found in the peninsula of the Sinai, northern Israel, and the region around the Dead Sea. And in the New King James Version, it has it as a Coney, what I think Darlene said she saw, and the rock badger. Now, this is some kind of...
and actually, if I look at my NLT, it has it in asterisk, and it says, or coney or rock badger.
Right. And I was like, what animal is it?
That was one time the NLT did better than NIV.
Right? So now, being curious, and that's just my personality, I decided to look up and figure out, so if these are animals they cannot eat, what animals actually chew the cud and divide the hoof? Now, by any chance, do you think you have an idea of what animals actually could chew the cud and divide the hoof?
A cow.
Very good. That's good, because I had no idea. I won't tell you the truth. I was like, I don't know who does what. Okay. So, cow, what else?
Well, oxen, right? Probably sheep.
Yes, sheep.
Goats.
Karen's smart. Look at Karen, so smart.
Yeah.
Goat?
No, my husband had we wouldn't have sheep, but we had goats and cows. So.
Okay, so you had these animals around the house. Okay. I mean,
well, not around the house, but they were on they were on the property.
Okay.
Okay.
But there were animals, now you think about it, there were animals that you could actually use for offerings too, right?
Yeah, I thought about that too. There also was the deer and the gazelle. Okay, I had looked that up, y'all. I needed to know. I said, why do you need? Well, because I thought it was interesting for me. It was very interesting. I'm like, okay, these things they can't eat. So what can they eat? Because I didn't know what chewed the cud. I'm like, okay, I never cared what chewed the cud. Or
What about
the deer?
What's that deer?
Is it? You can't do deer? Oh, okay.
They can eat deer. It's clean.
I didn't say deer, but yeah, Sherrese said deer. But what about moose? What about moose?
Moose? Oh.
It didn't say. I'd have to do further looking on that. It didn't list that.
I don't know, but if you said the deer and the elk, I'm just sort of like the same family.
If their hoofs are divided, which I didn't even know the hoofs didn't divide or did divide. I have no idea what that means. I am not a farm girl, so I would not have to go see. And so if they do that, then yeah, they would qualify as being able to eat. I thought they would be clean. Okay. They had to remember a lot, didn't they? Okay, so what could they eat of the fish?
The animals without scale or fin, you said could eat, right?
Yeah, they could eat those.
Yeah, they could eat the ones that had fins and scales, right?
Right.
They could eat the ones that had fins and scales. So then I asked you, what does abhorrent mean?
Detestable.
Detestable thing, an idol, unclean thing, real good. All right, so how are they to view those water creatures that does not have fins and scales?
As detestable or abhorrent.
Yeah.
And unclean.
Yeah. So now let me ask you a question. And this is me, looking into it and wanting to understand it, because I did that. I did further research, because I was so fascinated. What fish what fish don't have fins and scales?
That was a good question, because I was like, oh my goodness.
Now I wrote it somewhere. Yeah. There it is. Fine. That's why my papers have to be out of order because I'm not wrote it down. I spent a whole time writing this thing down.
Yeah, I did. Oh,
Like sharks.
okay. Dolphins.
And and whales. They don't have scales anyway. And I saw something that said eels.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give you
octopus don't have.
Octopus, yes.
They don't have scales or and
shrimp.
Which I agree.
Lobster.
I wouldn't want to eat octopus either.
Shrimp a lot. Would crabs be considered?
Right. They couldn't eat crabs.
Fish?
They couldn't eat crab. They couldn't eat scallops, mussels. They couldn't eat mollusks, shellfish, oysters.
Shrimp. You could eat shrimp. Yes.
Okay, and I was just laughing. And the reason I knew some of these is because my husband, he's a Christian. That's not the word for that. But he came from the Sabbath keepers. Okay, that was when he was born. He was a Baptist, and that's how he grew up. And then he went when he got adult. He went to the Sabbath keepers, and they keep the law. Okay, they try to keep some of the law, and the dietary part they do. Okay, so he doesn't touch to this day. Although he's not in the Sabbath keeper now, he still don't touch. He doesn't touch shrimp. He doesn't touch the pig. He won't eat crabs. He will none of that. And I'm a crab. Let me put it like this: I am a crab. Lover. Okay.
Yeah.
From the way back. Okay. You talk about crab lover. I can eat crabs year round. It doesn't have to be summer for me. You say you got a batch of crabs. I'm in the house. I'm like, just bring them over, and then you got my way. Okay. So I love. Okay. I love shrimp too, but unfortunately, because of my throat and acid reflux, I can't do the shrimp. The doctors won't let me because they're afraid I'll choke. And I'm like, that was like a sad day when the doctor told me that. Oh, so some 7 years ago, that I couldn't eat a shrimp. Like, can I cut it up or something? Because I really like shrimp.
I wouldn't be. I would not want to have the acid reflux and be told I couldn't have it, but not having it would not bother me one little bit.
Not having shrimp? You don't like shrimp?
No.
Some people don't. But my children are shrimp lovers. They grew up because of me. The only thing I've never had was lobster. I'm going to have to try it. I like seafood, so that, but now I don't do oysters. No, thank you. I'm not into mussels. My daughters are. They do scallops, mussels. They do all of it. Not the mother.
Have you had alligator?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It doesn't sound appetizing.
I am very, 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 very finicky. All right. So, but I have eaten alligator once.
Really?
Yeah, it was in Louisiana. And it was more like a dare type thing than anything else. So I was there for work with guys.
Did you like it?
Did you like it?
It tasted like chicken, sort of.
Okay.
So
does it matter how it's prepared that you could tell a difference?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure you could. But the one little piece that I had, the bite that I had, it tasted sort of like chicken. So it was.
Let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Now, this is not me being a little bit naive because I don't know all the different fish and different. What's calamari?
Squid.
That's squid?
Is it?
It's either squid or octopus.
I don't know what it is, but I know I had a little bit of it, not knowing what it was, because my friend told me. I went to lunch with her one day, and she got some calamari. She said calamari is really good. I said, okay, so it's calamari. She said, oh, it's just another form of chicken. So I got,
it ain't. No, it ain't.
Right, I don't know.
She told you that so you could taste it.
And so,
see, that's just. Maybe that's just how they get you to eat these things. That's just like chicken.
I said, okay, they're differently. Oh, okay, I thought it was some fancy dish or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, she did that so you could taste it. That's what she did.
No, because she told me what it was. I can't remember what it was. I don't know what it is because she finally did tell me, but I don't remember. And I was like, I ate what? Okay.
Yeah, it's either squid or octopus. I think it's octopus.
Right. So I laughed because it tastes a little bit like chicken. I said, but I told her, I said, it does taste like chicken. This chicken tastes a little different. And she said,
no, it don't taste like no chicken.
And then, but I said it's a little different. And she's like, so after I finished this, she told me. I said, girl, what I eat? I thought, ooh.
And it only tastes good when it's fried, deep fried.
It was fried. Yeah. It was, and I didn't know. I had no idea what it was. And
that's
so
funny.
Food a little bit,
Tastes like chicken. Yeah, okay. The texture
the
ain't
alligator
even chicken.
Was fried too. The alligator was fried too. The part that I had. So, anyway.
But that's cool. That's cool. So now, the next question. That was cool, y'all. I love that. What were they not to eat of the birds? Now, this was fascinating. What were they not to eat of the birds?
Eagles, vulture.
Oh, yeah.
Red kite, black kite, ravens, horned screech, little, great, white, or desert owls.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of owls I ain't even ever heard of. Oh, the hawk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those sound like those wild birds.
Bats, which I don't think of as being a bird. The hoopoo or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Gulls and hawks, and then there was like a word that I can't read.
Okay. Now the interesting thing, and I did tweet about it yesterday because I did a lot of my Leviticus study yesterday, and
stork.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna show you how naive I am about certain things. I didn't know the stork was real. Okay, I thought it was something.
Oh yeah.
I honestly thought it was a bird, and found out no, it's a bird. And so I found that out when I looked it up because I actually pulled up the birds to see what they look like. I knew what an ostrich looked like and a falcon. What I didn't the hoopie makes a beautiful sound. It's a pretty bird. It really is. And but I also found out, and I tweeted about it. I don't know if you all saw. Well, I know Donnie didn't see it on Facebook, but I did tweet about it. That I found out that a vulture and a buzzard are different. Because I always thought they were the same. I really did. I thought the vulture and the buzzard were the same, but they're not. They're all birds of prey. A lot of these birds are birds of prey. They are. You all know that they were different? Karen probably did.
So, yeah, because we've actually got vultures and buzzards around here.
I didn't know
they don't have the crow in here. They don't have the crow on that list.
They don't have the crow on the list. Got the kite, and I looked at all of them. The kite, the pelican.
And what is a kite? I was like, really?
It's a bird of prey. It's another bird.
Oh, that is a prey bird too? Okay.
Yes, I looked.
Cricket? They mentioned the cricket. Wasn't that one of them?
Yeah, well, no, the cricket, that goes down to insects. We're on the birds. I tell you, tell me the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me the Bible can't teach you. It teaches you about science right here. They something that Malachi learns in science with my daughter, because they've gone through the different birds and different fish and different things like that, and we got all that in Leviticus 11. The Lord can teach you even in His Word about the different animals. Isn't that fast? I thought that was fascinating. I did. I said, Lord, now you.
Yeah, I didn't know that was in there. Some details.
These are such details that He goes into. So these are birds of prey, okay? And they were not allowed to eat these birds. They weren't allowed to eat these birds. Then it said the next question says, what were they not allowed to eat of the winged insects?
Oh yeah, I went ahead.
What did I put down for that?
Insects walking on all fours.
I was fascinated with that. Insects that walk on all fours.
Walk on forward there.
And I was like, Lord, what is that? I mean, and then it says,
but if they have pointed legs for hopping on the ground, you can eat them.
Yes. I was like, whoa. So that says a lot because now let me answer you. Now, this is not a question I put in there, but it's a question I can pose to you. You may know, and you may not know. What insects walk on all fours? Because I didn't get the chance to look that one up. So anybody know what insects walk on all fours?
Flies, don't they?
I don't know.
I think flies. Because a lot of them you can't see their legs.
I'm gonna try. I don't be looking at insects' legs, so I have no idea.
Yeah, but you know when you were driving there, see on your window.
Yeah, they're winged insects too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because they got wings.
Not just regular insects.
Right.
Right.
So they got winged insects that walk on all fours. I have to ask my daughter because she does it in science, but I'm not sure. I have no idea. I would imagine. I just can't. I can't think of any. You see, I don't know anything about insects. I never cared to walk on all fours, so I have a clue. Okay, so I
Right.
don't know how to ask her that one. But what winged insects were they allowed to eat?
Locusts, katydids, crickets, and grasshoppers.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Crickets, and there's nothing about a locust or
Oh, what about praying mantis?
praying mantis. Was they allowed to eat that, or were they not allowed to eat that? Is that one that walks on all fours?
I don't know because I don't know if they have 4 legs or not.
Right. Sometimes I never looked at the insects to know whether they got 4 legs or not. I don't know. But I should have typed that one in. That's the one I didn't type in. I may look it up for the next time we come together, just so I'll know. Because I think it's fascinating. But so they
We can ask Lisa.
I know. It'd be wonderful to ask.
She would know. She would have looked it up.
I have no idea.
We love you, Lisa.
Remember those cicadas? Remember those cicadas that came around? Those, yeah, they walk. They got legs.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Remember how big they were, and they got wings. They look like they had legs. I'll say that.
But aren't they like locusts or grasshoppers
noises
or something? Yeah.
Aren't
they like locusts or grasshoppers?
I don't know. I know they're annoying.
Now that I'm not sure of.
I can say,
but I remember
that they are annoying.
You want to hear a funny story? You want to hear a funny story about those?
Okay.
All right. This won't take that long. My friend and I were in Tennessee during one of the times that they were getting flooded by those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden, my car was making this like loud noise. And my friend was sure that I was having engine trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, she was positive that it was having engine trouble. So she had me pull off the road. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I turned off the car. And of course, it was still making noise. And she's going, see, I told you, you're having engine trouble. You know, I'm like, no, my engine's turned off. It's it's the insect, right?
Okay.
You know? But anyway, all right. Sorry for the digression there.
So was it? No, I'm saying, but so it was the cicadas?
Cicadas was under your hood or something?
Yes. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. It was just they were so loud that they were. You could hear them over the sound of the engine.
Wow.
Oh my.
Ooh. So now that takes us back.
And from up here we don't get them. So
we got them down here a little bit, but not to the point that you're talking about. But but that takes us back to when we were studying Exodus. And remember when they did the plagues to the Pharaoh?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Came in. Can you imagine? I just can't even imagine it. I just, no, thank you. All right. So, touching the carcasses of any creature that was described meant what?
You became unclean. You
became unclean. Touching the carcass. Okay. So you became unclean. All right, so now what are swarming things? What swarming things were they not allowed to eat? I tell you, I didn't even know there was a difference between swarming things.
Swarming? Swarming things.
Just things like weasels, rats, great lizards, gecko.
Oh, yeah.
Skink, chameleon.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what a sand reptile is. I think it looks like the sand, I think. I'm trying to remember. Some of it I've seen from looking at movies. When I look at like documentaries on Earth and all that kind of stuff, and I come across some of these things. But yeah, crocodile. Can't eat those things. If you eat those things, but they weren't allowed to eat those things. All right. So what were unclean things and why? What were unclean things and why?
They were saying some of the animals were unclean, because of what they, okay, the animals, because of the ceremonial requirement of the Lord, they only had to have, only to chew them and have a split hoof. So if they didn't have those, they were considered unclean.
That's true. But now I'm talking about things, not animals. What things? We're talking about the animals.
We're talking about animals anymore?
No, we're on things.
Things.
Oh.
So that doesn't conclude the animals or the sea creatures or that.
No,
the birds. Other than that,
I'm talking about things. So that would have been in verses.
Please, at first,
32.
Around. Let me see.
Unclean thing.
So if an unclean thing dies and falls on something, that article, whatever it's used, will be unclean.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it starts at verse 32. Anything that comes in contact with something unclean becomes unclean. Make sense? Anything,
okay.
THING, that comes in contact, or any item that comes in contact with something that is unclean is now unclean.
Unclean. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Earthenware, wooden articles.
So that could be a person that came in contact with it and touched it.
Well, definitely a person, but they're talking about, like, if you look at verse 32, they're talking about
32.
Wooden articles, clothing, sacks, earthenware, vessels, things like that, cisterns, all that kind of stuff. To come in contact with something that is unclean, it is now unclean. Very interesting. So if it comes in contact with
the key word was thing.
Thing. That's the key word, thing. I should have highlighted that one. Maybe I'll put that on my notes.
Yeah, I thought you meant other animals, but then I wondered why you sort of skipped over that whole part. So that makes sense.
Right. Okay. No, it was things. I was talking about the things, actual things. I should have put a highlight on that. I'll do that next time. I put it on for somebody else to follow.
Yeah. And just for how specific it is, you look at verse 33. It says if one of these unclean whatever falls into a clay pot, everything in it will be unclean, and you have to break the pot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So anything that's unclean becomes anything that is clean and then touches something unclean. All of it becomes unclean. That's how serious God is. Wow. Which brings about the question or the point that they had to be so careful. You know what I mean? They couldn't. Things had to be made clean. God was very particular about them as people, what they put in their body and what they allowed to be on their body and touch them, and the things that had to be clean. He was specific. Okay. So what happens if one of the animals they were allowed to eat dies?
If you touch its carcass, you'll be unclean until the evening. Mm-hmm. And you've got to wash your clothes. Oh, sorry. If you eat any of its carcass, you got to wash your clothes, and you'll be unclean until evening.
Right. So touching it or eating it, you would be unclean. Interesting. Now you're going to be unclean if you have to. You're going to have to touch it, and move it. So you're going to be unclean. You got to get it out from where it is. If it dies when you get, you got to move it. But you're going to be unclean. But you definitely wasn't going to eat it because it's dead, right? And it's unclean.
Well, yeah. Actually, look at verse 36 and 37 and 38. Actually, look at 37 and 38. So 37, if a carcass falls on any seeds that are to be planted, the seeds will remain clean. But if water has been put on the seed and the carcass falls on it, it's unclean.
Yep. That's how specific God is. The seed was, you pass. If water's on the seed and it falls, no, it's unclean. He's specific. Our God is specific. Now, my last question was, why was the Lord specific about their food? Why do you think he was specific about their food? Why does Scripture tell us he was specific? Because he tells us why.
Well, I said because of verse 44. He's holy. He's their God, and they need to consecrate themselves and be holy because he is holy.
Mm-hmm. Good. And if you look at verse 47, he says also to make a distinction between.
Yep, you got to distinguish. Yep, between clean and
Mm-hmm.
unclean living creatures that can be eaten and those that may not be eaten.
Good. I had both of those, Karen. Yes. To make a distinction. They had to make a distinction. Wow.
Actually, if I had looked at my notes, I had both of them too. I didn't, though. I was looking at the verses.
But that's all right that you did it from memory and stuff. That's cool too.
Yeah.
That's really good. Because that means you really engaged the lesson in Leviticus 11. And would you have ever thought you would have spent this much time on Leviticus 11? But it's actually fascinating. Normally we would just, because I've read through the Bible. I've read Leviticus many times, okay? And, you kind of just go through it. Okay, yeah. They don't eat that. Okay, we're done. But then when I had to spend time doing it, answering the questions, because I do this, just in case y'all doubt, y'all can't see it. But if you look at the YouTube that I'm going to put up so that Lisa and Kay can get it. I actually worked through the lesson just like y'all do. So I had to engage it more, right? And I sat down, looked up things and wrote notes down and engaging it more. Now I remember a little bit more about it. And it takes us back to the book of Acts when Peter had that dream, remember? He had a dream.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It makes you see how serious it was in his mind at that moment, no, I can't eat that. Touch that stuff, okay? As God, it was trying to teach him about the Gentiles. Don't you just love it? But see, when we get the backdrop to everything, everything kind of comes clear to what was going on with him. We of course like, well, what's the big deal? Because many of us eat pig and rabbit and different things like that. I don't eat it now because, like I said, with the acid reflux and stuff, there's a lot of things I had to stay away from because it doesn't go down as smoothly as other foods. And the concern would be that I would choke. So, but I love a pork chop, let me tell you. Okay. And I don't do all the pig's feet and all that. I've never had a desire to eat anybody's pig feet. Okay, that doesn't work for me. Chitlins is out of the question. But I'm just saying, that is totally, my grandmother made all that stuff. I don't want none of it. Okay.
Growing up, yeah. I grew up pig feet, chitlins.
All of it.
All head, teeth.
They ate stuff that I wouldn't even touch. I'd be like, y'all must be out of your minds. There's nothing of the pig I want other than some bacon. And I liked ham and I liked pork chops. My husband won't touch any of it. Because he spent 30 years not eating it and he won't touch it at all. Not at all.
Did he ever eat it though? Before?
I asked him that. Did he ever eat any of this stuff? I know he didn't eat any chitlins or anything like that. He just didn't like to smell them. He may have had a pork chop when he was growing up because his parents, they did eat that. They ate like that when he was growing up. But when he became a Sabbath keeper, I'm thinking when he was about his early 20s. And so he was a Sabbath keeper for, let me see, at least 35 years. So he hasn't had it in 35 years. And he actually can tell the difference. If you give him sausage and you don't give him turkey sausage, he can tell the difference immediately. Immediately. You have to he knows if it's pork. He has such a sensitivity to it now that you can't even fool him. You couldn't even try to trick him. Because he just knows he won't touch it. He will not touch it to this day. And we can't get a crab down under the nose, so he barely eats fish. I don't even know if he eats fish, straight true. Let me tell you something, I'm a fish lover. You're a fish lover, so I eat all manner. All he eats is beef. He's eating turkey meat now because I don't cook a lot of beef anymore. I'm like, we're going to do turkey. But I'll do a lot of ground turkey and turkey. So he doesn't get the beef. He gets the beef. He has to go and get him a beef. He loves beef. So looking at right, it's interesting. Now, here's the thing is, it was unclean to them, but now looking at some of the things that the Lord disallowed, for some health reasons, some of it was he disallowed, it wasn't it? Some of it for health reasons, they live I think they call it kosher. Am I correct in my terminology?
Yes.
Yes, kosher. You know, and some of the things that they did actually was healthy. But some of the stuff that we eat, you know, when you think about it, you know, can cause problems with us. So it's cool. So how did you all like this lesson?
Once I got beyond writing out the 47 verses, you know?
Yeah, I laughed at that, Karen, because I got up to 30, and my fingers was just like, okay, I'm going to get the rest. And I ain't get past 30 yet.
Y'all was supposed
And I
to
did.
back it up.
I was going to try to do it like every, you know, a certain amount every night, but
Yeah.
I'm staying at work. Well, I have like flex hours actually in the office. Okay, so I've been like all winter. Well, actually, as soon as the time changes, like in the fall, then I start going home earlier, and then I work later at. I work again for like an hour or two once I get home.
Okay.
You know, on my laptop. All right, but now that the time has changed, I'm staying at work until I should be. So I'm getting home that much later, and then you know, once I get everything done with the dogs, and my daughter-in-law's been calling me so I can say hi to the grandkids, I end up not. I just haven't been doing my homework every night. I have trouble getting done the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, you know. So it ended up waiting, of course, until yesterday, and I had just finished.
So you did
writing out
11,
the 47 verses when I saw.
12?
Yeah, no, just 12.
Okay.
Just 12. Okay. I mean, 12 is only 12 verses, so I mean, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, right? But I had just finished writing it all out.
When I, 47.
Yeah. Well, I just finished writing it out when I saw Lisa's thing saying that she wasn't going to be coming, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's very much on my mind that I had just done that.
You just finished writing off. But see, we still had class. I recorded. That way Lisa won't miss out, and she can interject when she comes back after our 2-week break. And we talk a little bit more about the food. I'm going to put that note. I was supposed to look up. What was I supposed to look up? Something I was supposed to check out. Oh, the 4
praying mantis.
Praying mantis. Let me write that down. Look up.
And the non-insects with 4 legs. Or the insects with 4 legs and wings.
I gotta look that one up. I didn't look that one up. Because I spent better part of an hour and a half looking up these different things. I was all on the computer. Yeah. I thought it was so fascinating. I did the work. The work wasn't hard at all. It was I wanted to understand the different animals and things. I didn't just want to zoom through it. And so that was really good. So now just a heads up for those of you who are listening to the recording, we will not have class for the next 2 weeks. For the 31st and the 7th, we are on spring break. Smile. We're on spring break. When we come back together, we'll come back at chapter 12, which is only 8 verses, so you should be able to get that done in the next 2 weeks. But just to give you a heads up for those of you who like to work ahead and are doing the best of you if you're doing the scripture writing, chapter 13 and 14 are, chapter 13 is 59 verses and chapter 14 is 57 verses.
It's how many? 59 and what, Sherrese?
57.
I share your expression, darling.
Writing today.
Yeah.
I gotta catch up.
You can go back.
Okay.
Over your 2 weeks. Just spend a little bit of time writing. That way you'll be a little ahead.
Yeah.
Because you won't be on chapter.
You
won't be on chapter 14 until the 21st, and then the 28th you'll be in chapter 14. But that gives you a good month, to get to writing, because you got over 100 verses to write.
Yeah.
I just want to recommend. That's just my recommendation that you might want to get started. But how good is it? It's really good. I think you got your and that matter of fact, we should be finished part 2 at the end of April, Lord willing, unless we do. Because I think the last one is chapter 15, which doesn't have as many verses. It's only at 33, and then we'll have I should have chapter 16 on completed. I'm working on it as I go because I get caught up doing long, and I forget I got to go write the rest of it. And so I'll try to get most of that done.
Now, did we do
It's really good.
the female having, when she have a child, a female and a male child? Did we cover that?
That's chapter 12. No, that's chapter 12. That's on the 14th.
On the 14th, okay.
Yeah, when we come back from spring break on April the 14th, we will be on chapter 12.
Gotcha.
Which is day 4, which is day 4 in your study guide on week 7.
Okay.
Day 4 in your study guide on week 7.
All right.
All right. Any questions? All right. Let me close this out.
Thank you for sharing this number of verses and those. I just looked through the rest of the book too.
Yeah, that'll.
There's a lot on some of them.
Before I started
There's a lot of writing going on here. So you might want to, look ahead and, as you're writing out, you might want to get that areas, you may want to write advance, as you take your time through it, the writing. Otherwise, you got to space yourself during the week. And it can be done in a week. It's just if you space yourself. But if you know you're going to be, you may have to add, do work a little ahead. And since you're on break, you can spend a couple of, days maybe writing 2 or 3 verses out, maybe that you won't have to put all of it in one, try to do it all in 1 week.
All right.
So I'm going to close this out and take the recording off, and then, all right, so let me do that. Father, I thank you. I thank you for what you taught us in your word concerning the animals, Lord, and what wasn't allowed to eat and what was allowed to eat, clean and unclean. Lord God, all the is of you, and we are free under grace to eat whatever we want. I still bless you, Lord God, that you told us and showed us, Lord, that there was a distinction, that there, and even in our lives, Lord, there's a distinction between you and us and the world, and there should be a distinction between us. We may be able to eat whatever we want, Lord God, but we still have to live a holy life. And I thank you for what you taught us in your word concerning the meals. I bless you, Lord God, and I praise you for the ladies that are present. I pray for Renee, that she with the stamina as she's gone back to work. I pray, Lord, that you'll bless Lisa and keep her, Lord, and bring her back all safely on the 14th. I pray for Kay, Lord, that she'll be able to access Zoom and be able to come on and spend time with us in the study of your word. I just honor you and praise you. In the name of the Lord Jesus, I do pray. Amen.
Amen.